Fixed income, commodities, currencies, and commodities and derivatives, of course. This is Marketstoday. Good afternoon. I'm your co-host, George Bodo, co-hosting today with Mbide Mwema. And we have a lot of discussion lined up and a number of activities we're following for this week. Top of the list is a couple of corporate actions, Capturity, book closure tomorrow, Tuesday, and followed on Wednesday by another book closure in the name of Williams on tea. Something to watch out on the price, action, post-book closure. Although these are very liquid stocks, but just something to watch out for. Something else we're following is the Kenya shilling continues to come under pressure. Touched about 104.00 at about 8 p.m. GMT, which is about 11 a.m. local time. Kenya shilling coming under a lot of pressure of late. We're just wondering whether this is the transitory story goes on with it, or you have a new story developing on this?
I haven't seen any news story, but before I delve on that, I just wanted to give a bit of additional information on Captura and Williamson tea.
Yes.
I think Captura is 10 shillings per share, the dividend payout.
What's the dividend payout?
Williamson is 20 shillings per share, so some good returns there.
Would you know in terms of dividend yield what is this?
No, I'm not too sure about the dividend yield, but then
Could
the
be like
AGMs are
200 basis points, yes.
going on this week, so
Yes.
it's certainly something worth keeping tabs on.
But something else to note about these stocks, they're very liquid stocks.
Very liquid, very
it's
liquid
not easy to get
stocks.
a block of 1,000 shares.
No, it's very hard. And then I think now on the currency, so the slide continues. Every week we keep saying it's transitory,
Yeah.
and it keeps getting weak at 104. But just before we came onto the show, you gave me some insights, and you said that typically this happens June, July, August.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the senior treasurers actually was telling me it's a very regular trend.
Okay.
Around June, July, August.
Okay.
It tends to behave this way.
Okay.
And especially towards the end of the month, which has been a story we've been singing here.
That's true.
Typical end month demand. Let's hope that as we go into August, it fades away. Okay. But I'm just wondering, can we go back to 100?
Even before we go back to 100, I think if you say this happens June, July, August, then it explains because government payments tend to come at the close of the fiscal year,
yes,
as well as the beginning. So
there's a build-up
the
of
conversation
payments.
is always there's a lot of liquidity that's out there in the system. So that certainly gives a rationale as to why it's at 104. Whether it comes back to 101, I am not too sure, but I would say maybe 102 levels, give or take, which is not too far from 101, I would expect. And I'd be looking out for that. But then, George, is also the other element of demonetization. So we keep talking about it, but we are unable to quantify any correlation between that money that is there versus the currency. But then we are beginning to see and get the sense and hear that there is flight to hard currency as the demonetization happens.
Yeah.
So alongside looking at the end of August, there's also the element of September comes, then what happens? So that could be something also to look out for.
Yeah, and just to keep our viewers updated, the Central Bank of Kenya has reiterated that the September 30th deadline still stands for the demonetization of the old 1,000 shillings currency notes. They will no longer be legal tender. And the conversation around this, which Mbide is trying to allude to, is that there is some talk, or rather the street chatter is that a lot of houses are awash with cash. And
people are looking for hard currency.
As the deadline approaches,
yes,
then you want to re-enter, just to bring it back into the channel.
Exactly.
And probably buy some hard currency, dollars.
But 104 means we're not too far from 105. And we keep hearing 105 is the psychological point where anything could happen. It could just go loose, but worth watching. But I like what you brought out, the element of CBK and its stance on demonetization. So interestingly, I went through a report over the weekend sponsored by the Ministry of ICT. And there was a task force that's looking at artificial intelligence. The report actually came in and said that there's need for cryptocurrency, and it urged the central bank to begin to look at cryptocurrency in a way to actually reduce the debt obligations of the country at a national level.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see CBK's role in terms of policy and what it can do in markets.
They have previously resisted.
Yes, they have
Yeah,
certainly resisted. So let us see what they decide to do.
By a number of central banks. It's very interesting because the central bank itself hosted a forum about 2 weeks ago on fintech,
yes,
a fintech festival. And one of the much talked about topics in that fintech festival was the concept of cryptocurrencies. And one of their partners, which was the Singaporean Monetary Authority, which is essentially the Central Bank of Singapore, was there. And Singapore has actually gone ahead and
opened up
they have gone ahead to pioneer cryptocurrency.
That's very true.
And it's just interesting that they were all in the same house and their counterparts, Central Bank of Kenya.
No, it takes time.
it's still not willing to take up
But George,
cryptocurrencies. But cryptocurrencies can really save a lot.
What central bank has done on the back of this conference, I think I did say an advert, them coming out and saying, do you have any fintech solutions that can help with penetration, financial inclusion, help in agriculture, and trying to see how they can use blockchain technology. So it's certainly a step in the right direction, maybe long overdue, but certainly a step in the right direction, I think.
Some of the news also following is that last week, Friday, news coming out of Capital Markets Authority, the CMA, the CMA CEO will not be renewing his contract when it comes to an end in January 2020. Essentially, he's out. It's been a 7-year stint, and he's out. You have any views?
Derivatives, he brought that to the market, and he worked with the NSC to bring that to the market.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's still a jury still open on on his performance.
Yes.
And we'll wait to see. Well, I think maybe it will be very conflicted. Some people will be on the extreme end, some people will be on the extreme end. As always. Yeah, but we wish him well.
We wish him, certainly. No, I don't know where he's going. But
yeah, but I think immediately, the search probably begins immediately. But let's hope so. George, but I can say it's a very political appointment.
But you must give us an overview of what's happening in the market, especially EABL being a top traded stock today.
It's a very unusual Monday today, very heavy trading Monday. Turnover just about at 2:30 p.m. was about 408 million shillings. Top trades, EABL trading about 870,000 shares at a price of 204 shillings, which is about 0.37% up from last week's close, followed closely by another liquid counter, BAT, trading just about 240,000 shares. And of course, KCB trading 1.8 million shares. Safaricom nowhere today in terms of top trading charts.
But EABL, that's a massive trade. Massive, very massive
870,000 shares, close to a million.
Close to a million. It hardly does. Normally, if it does a big trade, it will do 100,000, 200,000, at the most 300,000. So 800,000 is certainly, I mean, a testament to the good numbers that came out last week on Friday.
But surprising is that they announced results on Friday, but the price hasn't moved much.
It's only 204.
The market hasn't received the news in a way that could excite the share price. But talking about EABL, we're actually discussing EABL today. And we have with us a very senior analyst from Apex taking us through the EABL's full year 2019 results. And obviously, we can look at a discussion around cash. It's all about cash. We see you shortly. Take a short break. We see you shortly. We get back discussing EABL.